Okay, welcome everybody out to our planning and town council meeting, combined meeting. Work on some of the town code, home occupation. The first item on the agenda is public comment concerning any issue not on the agenda. Is anybody here got anything on for any item that wouldn't appear on the agenda?
I didn't see the agenda.
Okay. You'll be on the second item. Does that help? Okay. All right, well then we'll go right to that. Item number 2, Joe, what we got is we issued a stop work order for one of Joe's projects. So Joe's here to clear up any misunderstandings we have so he can move forward with his, is it an ag building, Joe? It's an ag building, okay? So here's the application, if you guys want to look at that and pass that around. If you got another one here, we'll start it around here on this side. Joe, is there anything you want to tell the commission and the council members? You got them all in one shot. Okay, as you're reading that, I'll just read you the email we sent. Mr. Witt, this email is to notify you that you're on the agenda for the annual Planning Commission meeting on Wednesday, November 16th to discuss the ag building that construction was started prior to having an approved permit. If you cannot make it to this meeting, the next meeting will be held on December 21st. Construction cannot resume on the building until you have appeared before the Planning Commission. And so we just gave him where the Planning Commission was held. So he's here to move his project forward before our next Planning Commission. And he gets the council here at the same time.
I thought it was, I thought it was, I was under the impression that it was approved.
That it was issued.
And that's why we started it. Geez, Joe. I've got my own emails approved.
Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. The only question I think that we saw approving that administratively was, well, house animals.
There is a spot that, it could, but it's not.
But if you say no, then your setbacks are right. If you say yes, then your setbacks don't work.
I'm gonna use it for hay storage is what I'm.
Okay.
300 feet of frontage isn't enough setback?
It's 100 foot from any residential building on or off site. You're 66 feet from the property line, and so we don't know how close the Jensen's house is to this. So you have to be 100 feet away.
From their house?
Yeah, building on or off site, so.
Oh, well, I'd like to add that, so if someone does, if there is where it's like, their house is at least a couple 100 feet away. I could send a new site plan, or we could look at that, but,
Okay.
for right now, it's gonna store hay and then possibly a tractor, but, if, I don't have any animals, I don't have any fences to keep any animals right now, but I guess if that changes, what do we do?
Well, if you want to submit an amended site plan, what we'll do is ask for a motion for your amended site plan, and then we'll approve the permit if there's no other issues. That'll be easy.
It's a hand-drawn site plan, I would just add.
But we don't know where the house is, so you'd almost have to measure.
Well, can't we just write, I mean, if we know it's 200 feet, we can write 100 feet plus.
I mean,
If you think it's 100 feet away.
Jensen's house is for sure 100 feet away.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, you could just add that to your site plan now.
more like 300 feet away.
I think it's coming around. The official copy's coming your way right now. This is my copy coming this way.
So that's 100 feet from your own house, too, right?
Yes, yeah, from any residential on or off site, so,
But not structured as residential housing, so it can be
yeah.
as long as that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see. So my setback was, on my house was 200 and my setback was 200 feet, and theirs sits in front of mine, as far as from the road.
Mhm.
And then from the back of my house, I'm 80 plus 60, 130. And so we're, you know, when you when you drive down the road, whose house sits further back, mine or Jensen's? Mine definitely sits further back, so probably like, mine's 200 plus another 180 to the front of his barn.
If you just draw Jensen's house on there and write 100 plus,
Okay.
since we don't know the exact footage. And then if you'll amend that front page for your contractor, there's none of his information on there, unless you're building it.
I would put my license number in.
How far did it make it?
Down to the corner.
Yes, this is an ag building behind his, yes. While he's doing that, I'm gonna hand these out. These are the dates for our planning commission meeting. The council's approved theirs. We want to make sure everybody's okay with these dates.
Eric didn't get one.
Well, there he is. Okay, I got some more over here. Somebody needs another one?
Well, I know I'm gonna have a problem with September 20th already.
I'm impressed if you already know what you're doing September 20th.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I
Yeah,
expect
sure,
to.
right? We're all in anticipation.
Although I'm hoping to use the hole that I'm digging out in the back for the non-cemetery that I can't have by August 16th.
Did anybody else need a copy of our meeting dates? No? Okay. Joe, you got anything coming up? You need our meeting dates?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So the only other question I have is, so are all ag permits approved then through the planning commission?
No, most ags are done, they've given, the planning commission has given staff approval to do those.
Okay.
The criteria, what happened was once the stopwatch work order is issued, then the planning commission has to see it. So that's on almost, unless it's something pretty minor, then they can do that, but it's, we have another one that I thought would be here tonight. We issued 2 stop work orders, but they're not here, so.
So should I just wait a little bit longer between submitting that and starting it?
Yeah, so we went through the approvals, when he's a staff, we do our review and then we get it to Eric. Eric says it's great, and we get it to you. And you started before we got it to you. And so we were probably one day away from, you know, we were really close, but that was the issue.
And I hate, the reason that we probably even got a call was there was some demolition going on over there. And so we got a call that there was a lot of work going on.
That was on the property next door.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but that, I'm sure that was the reason that the call got issued. Do you know? No, I don't.
It is looking cleaner.
It's for sure cleaner. Yes.
Okay, did everybody have a chance to do that?
Looked at it.
Okay. Entertain a motion? There's no questions?
So my question is, you changed it to meet the guidelines? You changed
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, you've got a 66 feet off of the property line, so I'm pretty sure you're,
So, yeah, the only way there'd be a problem is if the house was right there. There could be
Yeah.
a 4 foot, there could technically be 4 feet, that it would have to be right there. And if it's in front of his house, then there's, the geometry doesn't, it's gotta be more than 100 feet.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Here.
So I move that we approve the Joe Wood Agricultural Building when a new site plan is submitted showing distances to the neighboring house, so as it is, okay.
You just submitted.
Okay, I move that we approve the Joe Witt Agricultural Building.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Council, everybody okay? Okay. All right, thank you, Joe.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thanks.
See you later.
Ice cream time,
What's that?
ice cream time.
They were asking on the way out.
I figured.
Or you could make them stay here and have the longest night of their life.
They'll never want to come to me again if I do
You
that.
sure they don't wanna talk about commercial code?
See you guys.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, Ryan, I will email you. I'm sure that the minutes will do, but I'll send you an email
Thank
and into Kyle. And I assume that that'll be issued right away. huh?
Yes,
Okay,
I would imagine that he will be, Hammers might be going tomorrow morning.
okay.
We'll make sure the paperwork's follows.
Yes, we just made him wait for the snowstorm to the right time to build.
How many days has he done, just curious?
3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
This week?
Yeah.
No,
Where's
Three
his
nice days.
property?
No,
Where's
it's
his
on
property?
3,000.
On 3,000?
if-
The new house
yes. Yes.
on the north side of 3,000.
Okay, so let me give you a little update on this annexation is Heber City. They're looking at the Huckleberry annexation. That meeting will be tomorrow. If anybody wants to go and protest that public hearing, that property is located across Highway 40 and Lake Creek Road. So the Lou Giles property, if that helps.
Is it just Lou's?
No, there's a bunch of them, but it includes Lou Giles.
It's behind the Whitheiner, right?
Yes.
The Whitheiner's on here, and then they've got Lou's, and then is Lou's going back toward the subdivision, as in back north?
It goes back, yeah, back north. Yeah, across from the LDS State Center over there.
So currently it's in the county.
It is in the county. My only question was on that map, if you guys look at that, you'll notice that it attaches to a proposed annexation that hasn't happened yet. So there's one that's in the process that abuts this, that they're jumping right over. So I don't know that that's cause for, protest, but it certainly is a question mark.
Eric, in your opinion, is there any reason why the town would be interested in protesting or want to protest?
Well, the only reason I could see after looking at it was just a matter of the state law.
That the other would be done first?
Yeah.
Charleston gives.
I mean, you hate to jump to another municipality and point out the law they're breaking, but.
Yeah, let their own citizens do that when they get upset.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's not received well.
That's personal.
You're probably aware of the airport meeting that was held, public hearing, and some of the new area that they're looking at taking over. I don't know, that was a public meeting?
It was a public meeting, because there was definitely several forums there, so.
Yeah. We had, the council was invited, it was a planning commission meeting, is that correct?
Correct.
And so GDA is the engineering firm? GDA is the engineering firm, and they're looking at a master plan for the airport area. Shortly after the meeting, a new map came out that wasn't introduced at the meeting, but
With new boundaries, right?
yes,
Probably further into Daniel.
yes.
Oh, by about 300%.
We're having some skyscrapers going up towards Eric's place there.
It's just interesting, quite honestly, to have they paid their engineer to present the meeting to Charleston and Daniel and everybody, and then, 3 days later have a totally different map than what they showed throughout the meeting and discussed.
Builds trust.
It does.
Have you guys seen that map though? You really ought to, it's,
You saw the new one, right? That's the second
yeah,
one.
Eric showed it to me, I think. It's huge.
Is it online anywhere, or?
I
or
don't
can we see it?
know.
I don't think so. What happened was, the planner for Heber included me in his Dropbox, and I couldn't get in, so I actually called the engineer, and he allowed me into his Dropbox, which means every time he makes a change, I get that update, probably before Heber.
So is there any way for the rest of us to see the map
Yes,
for you?
I think so.
Or can we get a quick description of where it goes?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the map.
Who's going to be moving? That's what we want to know.
The high school.
One stop.
Gary,
Totally encompasses all of my.
Plus barn.
So.
and then if you swipe it over, you see the other side.
Okay, the planning report was, we worked on the Maxfield annexation, which is on the other side of 189, and Oswald annexation, which is over there also, those two big properties abut. We worked on the Peterson building permit on Highway 40. We did issue a stop work order for Tim Jones, and he resolved that and moved the building. So that got taken care of. This is one you guys probably ought to hear about. Jeremy
Your
Kohler
house looks great.
did get a permit. He was almost, well, I think he was about done, wasn't he? So his report back to us was he was told by a high-ranking Daniel official he didn't need a permit. Okay, I don't know if that happened or not. but-
Is there one? Is there a high?
That's why I was laughing.
How high was he?
So it's just so you know, anything over 200 square feet needs a permit. So,
Or anything attached to an existing dwelling.
right?
Now, where's
If
his
it's
property?
2 square feet.
Jeremy Kohler's is at, what, 106 west, 3,000 south? Approximately. Anyway, he pulled a permit right away when he found out that he did need one indeed.
So that was the barn behind that they put up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the Mel Price solar permit was issued, the Jed Seuss building permit was issued. They did get their letter, the adjoining property member to the south. And so that permit was issued. Remember, we had a setback issue with the septic lines? So we sent that to the council, and the council told him to get a letter. He got the letter, we issued the permit. Okay, the Huntsman property on Mill Road, they're looking at possibility of building a house on that property where all the drilling equipment now sits. And so they're in the process of trying to prove that that was a recorded lot prior to the 5 acre. There has been no additional division of that property since Stephanie got her permit to build there. So there's been no further division. Everything's not together yet, but I think that will be coming your way to hear that on that lot.
Do you have any idea on that, Eric, if it is or isn't a buildable lot?
I have, she sent me every time something changed on that property back to 1943, I believe. Might have been a little earlier than that. And so it just comes down the line. They don't have a record, a certificate of lot of record that they can find. They don't know if there was one issued on the property or not, but they can't find one. But we do have in that, the last divide, you have 3 properties that were built on in that last subdivision. 3 of the 4 parcels have homes on them.
So likely this one could.
It could, yeah.
So do you remember what year it is when zoning took effect in the county?
Well, it took effect, but then they changed, there was 1 acre, then
I know they did.
RA, and then it was,
There was a year when it, so anything before that was kind of,
I don't remember, but I know where to find it.
I I've seen it too. I'm thinking it was, maybe it was, I think it was late 30s, but
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't remember. Okay.
I don't remember. Okay, I'm kind of surprised Mark's not here tonight. Mark McAllister has checked into some property on the Highway 40. That was the old Ware garage, so next door to this, the Huntsman property. And he's looking at purchasing that with the continued use of the trucking outfit that's there. And buying that property and doing a continued use with those same limitations that they have on that property now. So I sent him a letter back, responded. Chip, do you need to, on the letter I sent Mark?
With regards to, I mean, what do you mean, I thought it was,
Is okay?
yeah, I mean, it's fine and explanatory to him, and it's kind of what he discussed the last time and what we discussed back to him, so yeah, I thought it was written fine, I didn't have any issues
Okay.
with it.
What I just said is the town didn't make a determination on those uses. We took Bruce Cummings' letter at face value when we met with the attorneys.
Back when?
Yeah, in 2011. And we just took that letter at face value, and those uses that they had said were there, we just, that use was continued. And so we didn't do anything. Without making a determination of the council, we just took that letter at face value. And the limitation of 6 trucks and daylight hour uses of the shop, and there was a couple other things on there anyway, that those limitations that they had set, that they would stay within those restrictions. And so we've had some complaints. I went out several times. There was only one time that there was more than that many trucks there. I got a hold of Travis, and he says, yeah, there's an extra truck there. A guy stopped by to meet some acquaintances in town, and he was only there for 3 hours and gone again. So that will probably, I don't know that will come before the planning commission as a continued use. It may, if we need to look at that and maybe make it more restrictive, and Mark's willing to do that we may come to an agreement with a new property owner. We could make it less restrictive, but we could make it more restrictive if he agrees to that.
Is this a third-party offer? I mean, wasn't Mark involved with the original owner?
No. Steve was down on 3000 South.
Well, that's probably more restricted than we are in the residential zone with the
Could
same
be.
use.
Could be.
In fact, I'm pretty sure it is, but
There's more specifics on this particular one. Wording.
what's that?
As far as the restrictions, there's specific restrictions where, like you said, there's not a whole lot of.
Representative Powell was their attorney, and we got in the meeting, and he was funny. He says, I tell most of my clients they can just buffalo the town and keep going. However, Daniel's not one of them. Don't try that with Daniel. So we met, and we just took the letters that I just said, hey, you have to prove it was a continued use, you say it is. They brought the letters forward. The town didn't make a determination. We just took that letter at face value.
How close is that to commercial zone?
It is 3 properties away to the south.
It's in the enterprise zone.
But they have not been good neighbors.
Where's that?
Travis?
Quonset hut, up at 40 on the right-hand side going south.
Big Quonset hut.
Oh, the one we talked about at the.
The dirt berms and.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, it could be a good thing, as Jace stated, there's some feelings amongst the neighbors there that they maybe haven't tried to be as good as neighbors as could be. So this may be a solution, or a partial solution, or it may be progress, it may not. Okay, just wanted you aware of that. And then the Highway Corridor Preservation Agreement, we've met again. We're down to 6 or 7 statements that we're looking at on that agreement that the state, I shouldn't say the state, Mountain Lands Association of Government and UDOT and us can't quite meet on those few lines. Other than that, we're pretty close.
Kind of looks like the airport's gonna move that anyway.
Not the 40, the 189 it might.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 3,000
So we
south.
didn't sign the 189 agreement. We got to the same point where we had some issues, and they decided they'd worked with us enough, and so they moved on without us. So, we may get there again.
Like I say, yeah, our wording's a little bit different, and their attorney wants a certain word that kind of confines us, and so we may very well be in the same situation, and, but the council kind of made some decisions that we'll present to them next month, along with everybody else, and see if we can get it wrapped up.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan, this is the two properties going in Storm Haven. Will you update the planning commission and I guess the council at the same time?
Only update one at a time.
Okay.
So we've had a request, I guess, that somebody's looking at buying that property. So that's the alfalfa field just above Storm Haven.
Right off the road.
Right, yeah, right off the road there. So it's between the subdivision there and the highway. It's a close enough to a triangle, we'll call it triangular shaped. It's actually broken into two parcels, is the question that doesn't have as easy an answer as one would hope. The person has asked if both lots are lots of record and buildable lots, which is kind of two separate issues. The one is 4.9 acres, and to be a lot, it has to be 5 acres or 4.85 after dedication. So since 4.9 after dedication, pretty easy answer. It's got access, it's got water. I think putting a house on that one's pretty straightforward. And as far as when it was subdivided, it goes back far enough. I think I feel fairly confident that's an easy answer that I think we can make that one work. The other one is a 1.8 acre parcel, plus or minus. You guys are looking at it exactly, but thereabouts. And I think as far as the date that it was subdivided, it probably could qualify. I mean, ultimately, that's up to the council, but there's, I think, enough data that you could find that says it was legally subdivided, and there are neighboring lots that have houses on them that were subdivided at the same time. The problem I see with that one is we can agree that it was subdivided, but it has no access, and meeting the current code to build on it is very difficult at this time. So I don't know that, it may be a lot of record, but I don't know that we can declare it buildable because it's going to require some challenges.
I don't think you can make say that because the other lots that were subdivided at the same time have been built upon, that one's also buildable, or you'd run into trouble on Charles Schultz lot because the ones next to it are built upon and they were subdivided at the same time, and now we're saying this one's not buildable. So I think we need to go back and make sure when it was subdivided, do they have the letter from the county, the same way we would with any other lot.
Well, so I'm in the process of going through that.
Okay.
This was the information I have found to date. But
No, I'm just saying, I don't
we may
think
be able to find that.
that the others
Yeah.
having been built on is any proof that it was done
Right.
correctly.
Would
I agree with that.
Would they have to have a private road into that,
The private road, well, it would have to come through another lot.
a different lot, totally?
Yeah, so the only road that lot abuts is Highway 40. And so they'd have to have their own access off of Highway 40, which,
So,
according to Mike, you can get for about $100,000.
yeah, so at this point, it's like, it's not a buildable lot at this time, with current conditions.
Well, and so I guess I'm working on a letter or an email to report back to Eric and the applicant. I believe that with enough research, you could get that, a lot of record and information if it exists. I don't know, but I think even with that, I don't know that it's cost effective to build on it, so I don't know how much the
Okay, I have a
applicant wants to
couple
get into it.
questions for you.
Yeah.
And I've been out of the world for a while. My understanding is you can no longer put access to Highway 40 down in that area. If it wasn't there previous, you can't do it. Has that been changed?
So you can buy, UDOT will let you buy an access in some places for some reasons and not for others. So it's possible that you could pay UDOT enough money for an access.
Okay, the other
I
question I
I
have,
suspect that that would be, what you'd have to pay UDOT would be more than the value of the house, and it wouldn't be economic viable.
Worth
But
it, yeah.
technically, that, it's a UDOT road, that would be between the property owner and UDOT, not the
okay.
town.
The other question I have is with that second parcel, the smaller parcel,
Mhm.
is that not up the hill from Stormhaven?
Both of the parcels fall off the hill and come down, and they abut that.
Down in the
Haven
bottom.
Estates Drive, or Cove Lane.
Okay, and so they would be building the house on the top or down on the bottom?
The flat part, I'm not the owner. On the larger part, I would build it up on the top part.
Right.
And the lot, the way it falls off the hill, there'd be an easy driveway in. The bigger,
Well-
5 acre lot would be, I think, easy to do a couple different things on.
My main question is, on that second parcel, they're gonna put in a septic tank.
Yes.
The leach fields will be going down into Stormhaven area, correct?
Yes.
Thus putting whatever into the creek that runs through Stormhaven?
Mhm.
Possible.
Not a problem?
Well, no different than all the other homes that are there. Because most of those are actually all of them are on septic now.
And one more won't make a difference, and we can add 47 more and have all of those leach fields going into that creek, which runs all the way down past my house?
No, it runs in your irrigation pipes.
I have a well very close to the creek, and I have concerns. The county health department has not.
Okay. Because my understanding was that's one of the reasons we went with an RA5, to limit the septic tanks in the area and the sewage and stuff within our groundwater.
We have that, well, that was the Sousa's.
And
Issue
for
of getting
everybody's
on the report.
information, just for your information, I live in an area where 5 houses in the last 18 years, everyone in those 5 houses has had some kind of cancer. And we've had at least 2 deaths in those 5 houses from cancer. Okay,
It's because they ate snow when they're in grade school and had to make their tests.
baloney. Although I do agree, it's probably in the dirt, because we all have gardens, we've all eaten the food and stuff from the gardens.
Did you come from southern Utah?
No, we all got our cancer from that area that we're living in, that little block that we all are on.
From the mines? Probably mines.
No.
Okay, so I don't know what will happen with that as that moves forward. I think, Ryan, to make the determination, what they've done is they've just said, what do we gotta do to build on this? And we're like, didn't even know, but as a note to you, Kim, and the water department, the person looking at this says there's a spigot on there, so I don't need to buy it.
Spigot.
So I don't know if they think they own that spigot.
Well, there's a spigot that was paid for, it was $3,200 that was paid to Storm Haven Water Company. We honored that, and there is a spigot and a meter on that.
So you're gonna bill every month?
Yep.
Okay, so at least one of those
That
blocks.
goes through Tim Jones.
Yes.
But
So at least one of those blocks does have.
seeing how the water issue's been brought up, I think the water department would like to go to town council and put a moratorium on all that up there.
On new water hookup?
You bet. We don't have the capacity, we don't have the pump capacity. And that's another thing on these lots. I hope that, if I'm not mistaken, this is Mr. Hoover.
Yes.
But are they aware of where that water line runs through that property?
Probably, since we don't know, I don't think they know.
Oh, no, we know where it runs.
Well, we know about where it is. I walked with you guys.
Well, I've got a because I had a big part of it. I put about.
Oh, did you? Well, you know where part of it is.
Makes it tough to build on that lot, if we're talking about 8 feet on each side of that pipe. So back to the sewers, back to the sewer system, which this town is responsible for. We have 19 people up there, 21. That's in tough shape too. I mean, we did get it inspected by an engineer and sent the forms and the qualification into the state, and it passed. But it's under a lot of pressure too,
The septic,
the septic system.
yeah.
Being that it's a dual meeting, would you like that on the agenda next month? As far as the moratorium on that?
Sure.
Do we have data? Yeah, have we
Yes.
guessed? We do have data.
We've got data, and I think the data would easily support that.
Okay.
So what data do you have that would, just quickly, that would support that?
The water use, water that we use this, since we put our new meters in, is well above the capacity of that well. And so we're running on borrowed, I don't know how we met the demands.
And storage capacity is way low.
So I don't know how we met the demands, because we pumped more water than that well. I mean, well never shut off all summer, it just pumped every gallon you could get.
It's like Daniel was before their new system.
We'll have it on the agenda.
Also, while we're playing with the council, doesn't look like Casey's coming.
Does not.
We have Gilbert and Stewart. What we ended up doing was we hired them to do our audit. And what we have is because we got the Storm Haven water, it pushed us over the amount that will require us to have the audit. So now the price will increase. We had a motion, I made the motion for up to $3,500. And so, because we haven't approved the minutes yet, by Robert's Rules of Orders, I'm able to withdraw that motion. I could amend it if Casey was here, but since he's not here and he was a second, what I intend to do is withdraw my motion and then have one of the council members restate the motion for up to $5,500.
Yeah, not exceeding 5,500.
Okay, and
As
so
far as
this,
dollars for the audit.
Can we do all this, Eric, in this meeting?
yes,
Yes.
this is a combined meeting. Yep. And so at this time, I will withdraw my motion for the $3,500, and we'll entertain a motion from the council for a new motion. We're up to.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, call for the vote, all in favor?
All right.
Motion carries, that was 3. Amended.
Thank you.
Little housekeeping. Okay, I don't want to take a lot of time because we got a big night tonight. I'm going to pass this around. The legislature is working again, and so I've highlighted some of these things that may be of interest to you. The Utah Agricultural Code recodification, there's several items on there. Anyway, if you just take a look, that'll give you a little bit of an update on that. What's going on there. Okay, so Lynn, how do you want to handle the minutes with the withdrawing of the motion? Because now, do you want a motion with noting?
I didn't expect those minutes to be approved at this meeting.
You didn't?
No.
Then they aren't.
I thought that would happen at the next meeting.
Okay.
So I can change the draft with
Okay.
this new motion in it.
Okay, because we were just saddling up as a planning commission using the same minutes from the joint meeting.
Right.
So if that's the case, planning commission members, what do you? Because really, they wouldn't be done until we meet in December if we wait on the planning commission.
Right.
Are you?
I can make a notation that the planning commission approved it's the October
Yes, it's October 6th, October 3rd, sorry.
on this date.
Okay, Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes? Have they seen it?
Yeah.
And- Okay. Is anybody,
Pretty simple.
well, before we get that far, on page 10, uh, on page 10, the council gave Mr. Norris and other water personnel instruction to use their own judgment when when water is to be shut off for non-payment. This would generally occur at 3 to 4 month point of being in arrears. That wasn't my recollection of that we gave them at their own judgment to turn the water off.
I'm thinking, talking last meeting, right?
Yeah, October 3rd. It was the joint. Okay, thank you.
Kim, do you remember that at all?
I don't remember getting that authority, no.
I just think that's a lot to dump on our water
Yeah.
company.
I think I made a comment to somebody, if they felt comfortable about something, some issue, when there was somebody in the rears that I think I clarified, that person taken care of in the rears, and then, but I don't remember that particular kind of a statement about it.
Yeah. That's a lot to dump on our water personnel, I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it.
No idea.
I think we've established when the bill's not caught up at this date and this date. I think they have the judgment, if they're working on it, they're not gonna run out and shut it off if somebody's on their way with a check or something, but I wouldn't.
Let me throw for instance at you, so we had a person
Okay.
that thought they might want to come before the council that had called me, and it was on a Monday, and they were going to get shut off on a Wednesday, and I said, well, we don't meet for a month, and, your hardship, I certainly can't make any decisions as far as the mayor goes, but, so my counsel at that time was, with a lot of personnel would, have you dealt with this person before and have a history, and yes. I said, well, just do what we gotta do to get it caught up, because, we're getting real close to the end of the year, so that was kind of a specific one person that I was personally aware of, but I don't know that we, like you said, we wanna put, everybody on that same path,
Yeah,
so.
okay,
So
so,
the way I remember all of this is we had 2 dates in April and October where we would take these higher balances and go turn water off on those dates.
And then have 30 days notice.
And the council said that's quite a spell. I mean, we've got 400 or $500, so what we'd like to do is shorten that into a 60 or 90 day period. And that was kind of the instruction that I received that night, and I said I'd mention that to Gary Walton, who's the water manager, and get some feedback from him. And I think that's where most of that was left. We do enough running around, when we have those 2 dates in April and October, and if we go into a 90-day or 60-day period, 90-day period, I don't know if we can do that.
I think Casey was the one that kind of suggested that maybe, and I understand where he's coming from. It's a lot easier to get caught up on a $100 bill than a $500 bill or whatever they turn out to be. And I think that was the main reason. But maybe we do that with a letter or something, I don't know. Because I agree, you guys can't, you're already doing too much probably.
And from my point of view, I think the council would probably look at what you guys feel, whether it's 30, 60, or 90, what numbers you want to put on that. Because where you have the interaction with the people, you'd know 30 or 60 days is better than the not 60 or 90. So,
I would really like to involve Gary in that.
okay. That was just the one that stood out to me on there. I was just like, oh, wow, I remember that, so.
Are these the minutes that Lynn just put together?
Yes.
That's from 2 months ago. The conversation you just relayed was from last month's meeting.
Okay.
And I've looked because we've been discussing this and people are saying, I know we've discussed this, I'm not sure exactly what we came up with. I have gone through the minutes and I'm gonna make a timeline with the comments and decisions, if you will, that were made in each meeting, just so you can see in succession what was decided. In February of 2014, which is right after I became clerk, there was a motion made, and I don't know that you can change anything or get any instruction from simply a motion that after that, I can't remember when, anyway, there was a resolution about the rates. And then the discussion was continued as problems arise, more people get behind, you know, you folks discuss this in the council meetings. So I'm just gonna try to put together a timeline so you can see what was discussed when and come up with a change if you need to.
I think at this point, we just won't approve tonight. Does that sound easy enough? And then we'll, because it sounds like there might be a couple things we need to look at prior to that. Okay, that's easy. That puts us past 3 to number 4. We made it.
No, we're on 3 with my minutes from July.
Oh, okay. Now we got planning minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to look at the July minutes? Any corrections or additions? No, entertain a motion?
I wasn't here, so can I do a motion? I wasn't at the meeting?
You could, but
But I
probably
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Yeah, because I have no idea. I mean, they look fine to me.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October,
July 20th, 2016.
excuse me?
July 20th, 2016.
July
That's how far behind
20th,
we are.
2016.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I don't know if I was even at that meeting. So I was in
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay, so we had,
I didn't get the.
what was the yeas there? Did we get 4?
Did you get 4? At
Two,
least 3?
3 and 4.
Got it.
Did you pull it off?
No, I didn't, because I don't remember that meeting and I didn't get the minutes, so.
Okay, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, now we're to number 4. Thank you, Kathy. Home occupation, 825. Chip, you want to just tell them your feelings on this before we get going on? Chip's going to have to leave here in just a little bit, so we'll excuse him when he goes, but he has a feeling on this that I think that everybody should hear before we even start.
So between, and I kind of expressed this at the last public hearing, but from what I've gathered from people coming to my office, from the letters I've read that Eric has copies of, I think all the council has copies of, my own opinion, I've gathered from all of it that you know, the code is written, even if it was used as a template from other codes, it's not terribly far off than what we want in as far as home-based occupation. I've debated between even discussing and trying to bring up a separate code and have an home occupation code, because in my mind, a home occupation would be something very small. It would be a hairdresser mom trying to do it out of her base, small things. Then we start talking about accessory buildings, and then how big accessory buildings. Then we start talking about how many vehicles, and it can just explode. And so my opinion is, we live in a residential area. We have a 20-year master plan that talks about any kind of commercial business being on the outskirts of the town. So I'm trying to express the spirit of what I want to achieve as far as this new code. But I don't see us open this back, open it up the town and just saying that, we heard a lot of comments one night that I don't think were conducive to residential zoning. And at the same time, we have a red-lined copy of what we have gone through before we ever started the process. I think all of us might have a little closer idea of what we want to achieve, but maybe not the exact wording. We've had people give us their version of wording, which for me, I'm not the one to usually put all the wording together, but the direction of that wording is probably pretty important to me. And so I feel that the town ought to keep it fairly, to look at the code the way it's been written and change some of the things that we discussed that had question marks on it. I didn't hear an outcry to change everything about this code. I did hear that all the residents do want to live and be good neighbors to everybody, including the people that maybe have had somewhat of a complaint. Even those people understand that they don't want to have complaints or be obtrusive to their neighbors. So with that being said, I would like to just start off tonight and whether we tackle the old code with the red lines. Like I said, we have letters that have explained definitions of home occupancy that we may or may not agree on, but I think that commercial business needs to be in commercial zones, and homes and residential areas need to be left that way, and I don't believe that we should be widening the void a lot with regard to what some people are considering commercial business in our residential zone right now. So that's my personal feeling. That's what I've gotten from everybody else. That's pretty vague, but at least it's a direction that I know some people said a free-for-all. I mean, that would be the opposite side of the spectrum. I don't believe anybody, I don't believe most people would want a free-for-all as far as zoning and letting, and capping numbers is really difficult. But home occupation, to me, is a home occupation. It's not a full-blown commercial business, and thus this is fairly close as it's written, in my opinion.
Okay, anybody else got any, before we start going through the?
I do, Gary. I think that was good, Chip. I understood where you're coming from, but between you guys, does it make sense to have a home occupation permit and a separate business permit? Or does it still make sense to keep those together? Because I see a commercial place needing a business permit, a business license. And to me, that would be quite a bit different than like a home occupation permit. And like Lynn was talking about the application last time, how they were possibly quite different. And I wonder if, on your guys' thoughts, if you think it makes sense to have a home occupation permit and a separate business permit, and you get one, you do one or the other.
Myself, I'm tied in Alta zoning and residential zoning, so the two different types is one way to tackle it, and we also talked about conditional uses, which would be maybe the third way of tackling some of the issues. At the end of the day, I still think that the residential zone needs to be protected.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I'm just wondering, real big picture, before we get to the nuts and bolts of what we want and what we don't want. Does it make sense to have two different permits or licenses or whatever we call them?
It's like the people that are working on their homes, with some kind of contractors, whether it's a builder, electrician, plumbers, whatever. They got a trailer, truck that, they hold their trailer around, hold their wares to, do a job.
But those things don't fit, the things you just described, in the home occupation as it's written.
But
No.
But the home
So-
occupation people need a business license.
But they still need a business
That's what I'm
license.
wondering, if we want to call it a home occupation license instead of a business
Just a
license.
business license.
Way back when, in the dark ages, in the 70s, I had a home occupation license in Bountiful. It was the business license. Bountiful certainly has a lot of commercial businesses in commercial zones. But if you were small enough that you could make some profit, but you couldn't pay the overhead that a commercial zone happened, they allowed you to operate a business in your home, provided it was within certain parameters. And the home occupation license was your business license.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you're saying we would have two levels?
Yeah,
We would
kind
have
of
a
two different
business-
things.
We could
Yeah.
call, we probably have to call them both the same.
Well, one would be a commercial business.
That's right,
license,
it would,
and one
it would,
be a
it would
home
apply to
Well, you
commercial
call one
zones.
small business license and the other one would be a home
Home
occupation
occupation,
license.
but the home occupation
Well, we
was,
could have big business,
Yeah, it would just be a
In a commercial
commercial.
zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But not in
Then the
RA5.
No.
Right.
within the RA5,
Just
if
in
we want to
commercial.
allow a small
So
business
that's almost
permit.
3 licenses, right?
Yeah,
If
if
you're
it's
doing-
commercial separate,
And then it
then,
should cost different, I mean, a home
Where
occupation
did you get three?
for the lady
She's
who
saying
inherited
one
her
for home
basement shouldn't cost
occupation,
the
one
same as the
for
guy.
small
Like the one on Little
operations.
Sweeten's parking all his
And then one in the big
asphalt
commercial.
equipment in his yard. He
We're
should
two different
have-
right now,
So we have
only
beast
two.
and two different things, and
A bunny and a
one's
monkey.
really clear, one to me is one's really clear this way, and one's really clear this way.
so the first question I have, or is it okay with our purpose and why we developed our town that we have, I use the word, commercial businesses in the RA5 zone? That's the question I had, because it seems like that's going on.
More of a small.
Well, that's why we
you know,
started
Okay,
it, and it is
small,
going on.
define
Well, that's why this
Small.
discussion has been going on.
Right, but if we just stick with the name home occupation, we've got business out there that doesn't even come close to that term.
Right, and we've been through that discussion. But the problem is, what do we do going forward?
Did everybody get a copy of the code that we'll be talking about tonight? Everybody have that?
I've got
Anybody need
extra
one? I don't
copies
have
of
one.
the
Because
red
in
line.
section 8.25.04, it says the applicant shall obtain and keep a current business license for home occupation in addition to the permit granted by the planning staff.
And I think that could be
That's
changed.
like, what?
But these guys know what they probably want
Yeah, and I
better than I do. I just think it would make sense if you have a commercial property, you go after a business license. If you're in a residential zone, you go after a home occupation license.
But here's the question. The gate has been left open, the cows are out. So are we seriously talking about creating a code that we cannot enforce? I mean, does our town have the resources and the finances to go after some of these people who've been operating out of their homes and say, this is our home occupation permit, you do not comply, you must now cease and desist? Are we really gonna do that?
Well, one thing
That's
I
what I'm
got,
asking.
Jay, from the public input was, they don't want us as police officers.
But
They,
if we make a
it's a
code,
complete-
somebody has to be the police.
No, I disagree with that now. I used to completely agree with you, but hearing public
Who's gonna
input.
police?
Okay, so why do we get a building permit?
It's a complaint-driven
That's what we
process.
have, and if we
Yeah.
have a code, like if I complain about my neighbor across the street, then
Then
he
something
can
will
come
be
back and
done.
say, well, you let me do it. You know, I don't fit the
If I build a
code,
building
you
and
let me-
nobody complains, am I okay? Building
Yeah.
bigger than 200 square feet?
We certainly have them in the town.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, we saw examples tonight where there's stop orders, work orders issued. But the other one, we're just saying, well, just because everybody wants to do it, and I think that meeting was pretty one-sided about who wanted to do it.
So I'm thinking that we have
So,
to have
I don't know.
something in writing. And I'm fine with the home occupation the way it is, because I'm not trying to do business out of my home. But we heard from a whole room full of people who are doing business out of their homes, and they're doing some serious business. I mean,
And
they're
they
talking about
although
10
they-
guys showing up at their house every day, and they think that should be fine.
Which does not fit this code as it is written.
And they recognized, and most of them realized that they kind of either knew it, kind of sort of understand it, they didn't want to, so I think we have, I mean, like I
So
say, I think
are
this
we gonna
code's
try
not.
and enforce our idea of, you know, mom doing hair in the basement, and this guy who's got all his asphalt equipment in the backyard in the same code?
My feeling is if we're going to let them do it in the residential zone, they ought to at least have to meet the same requirements they would if they were in the commercial zone. And so that's the big advantage. They don't have to do any of the things that are required in the commercial zone.
They're not paying the permits.
They're not paying permits, they're probably running out of an ag building that they're not paying taxes on. What benefit is the town getting from it?
Besides their $60
They're
rate.
saying, yeah, is that worth $60 to the town? You're probably not even getting any sales tax out of a lot of them.
And the other discussion that came up that we're kind of ignoring at this point
Because it's
is,
collected on a big area.
I said a lot.
Yes.
we have some of the last land, saleable land, in the Heber Valley. Heber City's not letting people run businesses out of their backyards. Charleston maybe. Independence isn't going to. You know, none of these areas are allowing people. And so if we are the area of the valley, that, oh, you can buy 5 acres out in Daniel, and you can put whatever you want out there, because those people are suckers. I like the idea that we can police ourselves, but it's not real. It's
Well,
absolutely not real.